Welcome back. In the studio with me to bring us up to date on what is happening with the local council, our mayor is here, Matt Wren. Matt,
good to be
welcome.
with you, Doreen. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's been a while, so I'm glad. I know you're so busy that it's not always easy to get you, to set up a date with you to have you come in. But I'm glad you're here.
Sorry about that. Glad to be here.
Well, hey, we're glad to have you. Let's talk about the main sewage pump, the exterior. I know that the design of it did go out, and people had the opportunity to look at the survey and decide what they thought was what they would like to see.
Sure.
So what has the council come down with?
Well, I think the main message that we heard from the community is this station is going to be in a very highly visible area in one of the most important, on the edge of one of the most important parks in the city.
Yes.
And we can't just put up some, basic industrial looking building there. It's got to be, finished with attractive materials and so forth, and it will be. But based on the feedback after the first public information session, we asked the design firm that we're working with to come up with some options of what a attractive looking building could look like.
Oh, yes.
And so of those four options, and even the option council selected at the lowest price point will be attractively finished with, brick or stone or nice materials. It will be very nicely landscaped.
Yes.
The difference in the four options was there were some different roof designs that were presented, but those roof designs, which do nothing for the building other than the look of the roof, were going to cost, I think, somewhere between $3 and $8 million more being added to the cost of the project. And I think, the majority, not everyone, I think it was unanimous, the council agreed that wasn't good spending of public dollars. And the other thing that we've learned in the meantime, since we asked the public to comment, and so forth, is that it's at this point unlikely that we're going to be receiving any provincial or federal money to help with the cost of this project. So this will be all on the municipal ratepayer.
Yes.
And so we have to be very conscious of spending our residents' money in an effective way.
And the council has started with the budget, have they not, for 2025?
Yeah, the budget is sort of unrolled in pieces. So we've talked about user fees. There are just very moderate changes in user fees, and many of them a 0% increase, actually. And we've tabled the water and wastewater budget. So, these are all things I learned since I got into municipal politics, but water and wastewater expenses and revenues are kept entirely separate from taxation expenses and revenues. It's like a totally separate budget within a budget. And so we've tabled the water and wastewater budget. We've asked staff to make a couple of revisions and bring us some further information. And we hope to finalize that budget at our meeting on December 10th. And then right after the holidays, we'll get into operations, capital, community partners, with the aim to have the budget in place and approved by the end of February.
Wow. I mean, yes. Oh, that sounds very, very, I know in the past, budgets for Brockville have dragged on, but
sometimes,
in the last few years, they seem to right on.
Yeah, it's a very good process that we follow. We're always looking at it and trying to improve upon it. It's a huge amount of work for staff. I mean, they literally start budget in probably August, September. And there's months and months of work for staff to do before council and the public sees any of this work and where we're at. So we're looking forward to those discussions in the new year. So far, I don't think that there are any, the last two budgets, we've had these big, I call them $1 million curveballs that have come our way, things sort of beyond our control.
Right.
I'm not aware that there's anything like that coming out of left field this year.
So no surprises.
Well,
we hope.
We hope.
We hope. So I've noticed, a lot of people have, there's a lot of building, a lot of construction that's happening.
Yeah, a lot of growth happening
Brockville
in our city.
And around Brockville. It's either residential, it's commercial, wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And you know what? I said from the beginning when I decided to run for mayor in the 2022 election that my focus was on growth. And growth is happening. Growth was going to happen. The city already had great momentum. The pandemic, I think, had shown people that lived in large centers that it was possible to, come to a more comfortable lifestyle and in a community that was easier to get around in and bring your job with you. So we've had some benefit from that. We've got great growth in the commercial sector as well. and we recently transferred the last piece of land in the Broome Industrial Park over to the great folks at Northern Cables, who are going to build another plant in our industrial park over the next couple of years. So a lot of great things happening. And the reason this growth is so important, though, what I've been saying from the beginning of my time in this office is Brockville is, the term was used by one of our staff when we were doing our strat planning session, too big to be small, too small to be big.
Oh.
We're at a strange sort of size that we've got all this infrastructure and all these expensive services that we supply with a very small population to fund it. And so growing our assessment base means more people, more businesses paying property taxes that will help us with that high fixed cost of operations and take some of the burden off of our residential taxpayers, hopefully, eventually.
Yes, hopefully, yes, definitely. Let's talk about the multi-use recreational capital campaign. So is there a committee that has been established for the fundraising end of it?
We're just working on that now. So the goal is that we would like to see about $5 million of community fundraising done as part of the project. And we've looked at other communities. The best local example is Prescott.
Of course.
And they had a successful campaign. So, you can only expect so much funding from the upper tiers of government. There's going to be a local portion. We know that some of that will become a debenture, but we want that debenture to be manageable and not a big impact on the taxpayer.
Right.
So we'll look to the community for some contributions. There'll be opportunities, for naming rights and different things like that. We're very conscious, though, that there are a couple other major capital campaigns underway right now for Sherwood Park Manor and Mapleview Lodge, just to name a couple.
Yes.
And so we sort of strategically wanted to not jump into the fundraising arena until those major campaigns, get closer to conclusion. Plus, we're looking for a champion, and we've talked to a few people to be potentially an honorary chair, but we haven't secured that yet. But it's going to be important to have that community champion to head the charge on this.
So things are moving forward then.
Absolutely, yes.
That's awesome. So something that I was reading last week, we have been hosts in the past, was the senior games, the senior summer games.
Absolutely.
2027. Is there a good chance?
Well, I got to think there is, because they called us. We didn't call them.
Good.
So Brockville was asked to consider throwing our name in the hat to be a host community, and it was a great success a few years ago when the event was held in this area. It would bring 1,400 participants to the city over the several-day period, and the economic impact would be about $1.5 million for the local economy. And the great thing is that there are grants available to fund the expenses involved with it. So again, it wouldn't be a burden on our taxpayers, but a great benefit both economically, but just to show off the city and have some people coming to visit who will invariably come back again, I'm sure.
Do we have any idea as to when we may hear?
I think fairly soon. I know the application has been submitted, and I think that process is sort of months, not years in the making. So I would expect in the first quarter of 2025 we'll find out if we're successful or not.
Okay. So River of Lights.
Yes, the River of Lights is up and running.
Yes, isn't this nice?
It is. Every year it gets better and better, and we had a nice reception for all the local businesses that have contributed to help the city continue and allow us to grow this great event on the waterfront, and just such a great core of business people in the community that are generous and get behind things. So grateful for that. And the city also received some very generous funding from the province of Ontario from their Experience Ontario Fund. So we're really thankful to MPP Clark for his advocacy and for the Government of Ontario's help in this. And so it's up and running every night until January the 6th. The first hour from 5 to 6, the lights are sort of in steady state because some people do have some sensitivity to a lot of visual stimulation from lights and so forth. So 5 to 6 and 10 to 11, the lights are just on still mode. And then from 6 till 10 each night is the full music and motion of lights show. So invite everyone to make their way down. It's a great free event, and the Aquatorium train is running, and I understand there's a generous donation made there so that rides on the Aquatorium train are free.
Oh,
so that
nice.
was a wonderful gesture.
Yes, it is.
By someone who I don't know, but
thank you,
if
person,
they're
whoever it was.
listening, we're really, really grateful. What
That's
a kind
nice.
thing to do.
It is indeed. I'm going to give you a few minutes for you if you would like to address the viewers as to the season, or mention something about the council or whatever.
Sure. Well, just want to wish everyone the very best for the holiday season, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year ahead. We're having our annual New Year's Day levy on January the 1st. It's going to be at the Brockville Memorial Center, and we're going to add some free public skating as part of that gathering, a little less formal than sometimes. So everyone's invited to come out and be a part of that. I think there's a number of initiatives going on to make sure that we support those who need a little extra help in the community during the Christmas season. I know that the team up at Brockville Hyundai has a fundraising raffle underway that will raise a lot of money for the YMCA and some of the programs that they provide in the community. The local food banks, of course, always need our help, and never more so than this time of year. And there's several different projects going on to help the food banks in the area. So, it just seems whenever there's a need, our community rallies together, and that's always great to see.
Yes, we are. We're very, very lucky to live in Brockville with so many generous people.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for coming in, sitting down with me. All the best to you and Dana and the family for the holiday season.
My pleasure to you and yours too, Doreen.
We'll have to have you back a little more regularly. We'll have to set up a schedule.
We'll make that our New Year's resolution.
There you go.
More time together in 2025.
You got it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
My pleasure.